my channel. My name's Whitney if this is your first time here. We're just gonna hop into what the topic of this video is, my 2020 resolutions. And I know that it is a little behind, but life happens and things get put off, but I'm dedicated to creating my resolutions anyway and making sure that I stick to them this year. So let's go ahead and jump into how I created my resolutions, since I did it a lot different this year than I ever have in the past. One of the most successful ways that I've ever created a resolution or really seemed to stick with my goals a lot more is when I really just did a brain dump of all of the things that I feel like would have made a step in the right direction of what I wanted to see for my life. I can remember exactly when I did it, and it was when I was studying abroad, 2013 to 2014. I really sat down and I just wrote down every single thing that I wanted to do in that next year that would help me really become the person that I want to be and help my life start turning into the life that I wanted to have. And I really stuck with a lot of my goals that I had that year, and I loved looking back at that list and just feeling so motivated and so inspired, and like I knew exactly what I needed to do that year to start making progress. So I took a really similar approach to that this year, but I also incorporated what's called the Level 10 Life. And if you've never heard of it before, it's basically looking at 10 different categories in your life and ranking them on a scale of 1 to 10 as to where you are now. And my next video is actually going to be all about the Level 10 Life and how I ranked myself, what categories I chose, and I'm going to get into that a little bit today. But in my next video, I'm going to go a lot more in depth about, how I'm going to incorporate the Level 10 Life and how I am going to make sure that at the end of this year, when I'm reflecting back on my year and when I'm re-ranking myself on where I stand in those 10 areas, that I'm going to set myself up to be as high ranked in those areas as I possibly can. It took a bit of time, but I think what I was able to come up with is really going to kickstart my life, and I'm so excited for what my life will look like at the end of this year if I'm able to stick to, or when I'm able to stick to, all of these goals. I know a lot of people like to have a handful of resolutions, and if that's what works for you, then that's great. I think over time you find out what works best for you and how you like to do your goals. For me, I really like to get nitty-gritty when I'm thinking about my goals and have concrete numbers attached to them, so I know, whether I hit it or not. Or say my goal is one of them is to read 25 books this year, so I know that means I'm going to read about 2 books a month. So that way I'm able to break it up, and I'm not just having some random goal of I want to read more this year, but reading more would really mean me reading 1 book, and I don't think that would really count as reaching what I intended it to be for my resolution. This is what my little brainstorm session looked like, and I don't know if it will focus. Hopefully it did. I really just sat down, brainstormed a bunch of things about what I wanted to do this year, some really concrete goals. I have read 25 books, get my real estate license, reach 10,000 subscribers, which I know is a really crazy thing to think about, even just being on video number 2 of this year. But I want to have some stretch goals and see if I can really push myself to get there. Some other goals I have are saving $5,000, travel to another country, meditate 2 times a day, try veganism for 1 month. So I have a lot of goals on here, or a lot of ideas that I want to try out this year. And I mean, a year is a really long time. And I think when you set yourself up to only having a couple of things, that for me at least, I don't feel like that's pushing myself enough, which I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And maybe next year when I'm filming this video, I'll have a completely different approach and I'll say, that was crazy of me last year to do so many goals and so many resolutions, but we'll see. This is the first year I'm really trying it this way, and that's what life's about, is experimenting with what really works best for you and how you work as a person and what is gonna, keep you on top of your goals and keep you pushing forward and helping you create the life that you really want. So I started with this, with just a brainstorm of a bunch of different things. But then when I tried to break it up into the 10 different categories of the level 10 life, if you can see, if it focuses, you'll see little dots next to all of the different things. And I was trying to categorize everything because my ultimate goal was to have 12 action steps for the 10 different categories. And that would represent one thing per category per month. When I started breaking everything down, I would name read 25 books, would go into personal development. And then get real estate license would fall under career. So I tried to categorize everything, but then it started getting a little confusing. So I decided to take what I already had and then incorporate it into a different way of looking at it. In order for me to start looking at the level 10 life and really what I wanted to work on in each category, first you want to rank yourself in the different categories of your level 10 life. So the 10 different categories, and I'll put them up on the screen right here so you can see them all written out. But the 10 categories are family and friends, personal development, and I'm reading off of a paper, so that's why I keep looking down. Spirituality, finances, career and business, relationship, fun and recreation, giving and contribution, physical environment, and health and fitness. And I made this little sheet to rank myself on, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. And it's kind of nerve-wracking because I might just record this whole thing and then it's super blurry and then I'm going to have to do it all again. But this is how I ranked myself. So, and again, I'm going to go over a whole video on my level 10 life in my next video. But in family and friends, I ranked myself at a 4. For personal development, I ranked myself at a 5. For spirituality and finances, I ranked myself, both of those, at a 1. For career and business, I ranked myself at a 3. For relationship, I ranked myself at a 6. For fun and recreation, I ranked myself at a 4. For giving and contribution, I ranked myself at a 2. For physical environment, I ranked myself at a 3. And last, for health and fitness, I ranked myself at a 2. I decided to write down what my main focus was in those categories. Keep in mind I have those 12 action steps for each category, but I wanted an overall focus. I took the time to write down all of my focuses, but what I really wanted to get into was my resolutions based on those categories. So what we've talked about so far is how I set my resolutions was, first I did a brain dump of all of the different things, concrete action items that I wanted to do over the next year. Then I categorized them into the 10 different categories. So obviously, if I have 10 categories and I have 12 action items per category, that's going to be 120 action items over the next 12 months. I have 12 ideas of how I'm going to reach my level 10 life in each category. This does not have 120 things on it. So what I did to come up with more ideas was I kept trying to brainstorm on things I've thought of in the past, and this is going to be super helpful for when I'm creating my resolutions for next year, because I'm going to be able to reflect on this and say, hey, I really liked that resolution. I'm going to do it again in 2021. Or, oh, I did not really like doing that resolution. I'm not going to do it again. From there, I still had a lot that I needed to come up with. So I went through Pinterest, which I love Pinterest, and I just typed in level 10 life, and I looked through a lot of other people's goals for their level 10 life and how they're working towards them. I watched some YouTubers who went through what their 2020 resolutions are, and I got some ideas from there as well. And eventually I was able to get 12 in every single category. So once I had 12 in each category, so you see I have 4, 8, 4, 8, and then 10. So 10 categories, 12 in each categories. After I had that, I had my resolutions page, which hopefully you can see it. It says 2020 resolutions right here. And then I just wrote an overall encompassing action to do for each of those 10 categories. So we have category number 1, which is family and friends. I wrote spend more time with family, friends, and pups. And then I have personal development. I put push myself to create my best life. For spirituality, my goal is to be in tune with myself. For finances, become financially stable. For career and business, create the businesses I have dreamed of. For my relationship, focus on his love language. For fun and recreation, try new activities and experiences. For giving and contribution, find causes to volunteer my time and contribute to the world. For physical environment, I wrote design a home that I can be proud of. And then for health and fitness, reach the health and fitness goals that I have wanted my whole life. So instead of writing 121 different things on this sheet, which wouldn't have worked, it would have been crazy looking, I decided to just do an overall encompassing phrase to really capture what I wanted to accomplish in that area of my life, and really what I want when I'm thinking about those different categories, what's going to help me start building up to reaching that level 10 in each of those categories. So it's a lot to take in. It was definitely a lot to do, but I think just going through the motions of doing it this year and really working on it for the whole year of 2020 is really going to help me find out what worked and what didn't work by doing my resolutions this way. Like I said before, I might get to the end of 2020 and think that this whole process was way too far-fetched and there was no way that I could have accomplished it. Or I can get to it and say, I knew exactly what I needed to do in each category to increase my level, and I did it. And now I'm at levels 8 and 9 and 10 in the 10 different categories of my life, which is ultimately the goal. It feels a little overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie, just looking over everything, and I think thinking about that there's 120 different things, just that number is a little overwhelming. But at the same time, there are things that I can check off today, like start a YouTube channel. So it's going to be really cool going over those 120 things and being able to check them off. You saw the first page that I created that has the level 10 life filled in. So this is the level 10 life filled in with how I'm ranking myself on the different categories. And then I have a blank one. So then at the end of 2020, I can redo this and I can re-rank myself on where I am in all of those different categories. So that is it. Those are my resolutions for 2020. I am super excited to work on them. Super nervous because I have some really big stretch goals on there, like my goal of hitting 10,000 subscribers. I can't even think about in my mind what that would even look like. I don't even think I know 10,000 people in my life. But just thinking about how, I can really make that happen if I work really hard and if I'm consistent. And it's scary, but it's something that I can do and I am capable of it. So if you've already created your 2020 resolutions, which I hope you have, but if you haven't, that's okay. It's never too late to start. I just did mine right now and I still plan on completely killing it this year. So if you have, please comment what your resolutions are below or your top 5 resolutions, and that way we can hold ourselves accountable. One of the things that I really think is going to be important is writing down your resolution and putting it somewhere that you can see it. So on my next video, I'm going to talk about my level 10 life, the different action steps that I'm taking in those 10 different categories, how I ranked myself, what my thought process was. But then in the video after that, I'm going to create my vision board. This frame has been on my wall probably since January of 2019, and it's where I have been planning to put my vision board since then, and I never did it. So I'm using YouTube to hold myself accountable. So I am saying out there to you and to the YouTube world that I will be creating my vision board with you on not my next video, but the one after that. And it's going to be a little different, actually a lot different than your typical vision board, because I am a struggling perfectionist and there's a certain look that I want to do and a certain idea that I've had for creating my vision board for a while. So we'll see how that works out. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all of the love that I've already received on this channel and all of the support from my friends and family. It is crazy to have been received that way, since it's something that I'm so nervous about. And I was so nervous about even posting the link to where my friends and family could see it. But I am so grateful for the encouragement that I've received so far and for the love and support. And it really does mean so much to me, and I am so grateful. Thanks again for watching. I hope you tune in for the next one.